Hi, hello, and welcome to a new Boy Time feature, this time in stereoscopic 3D.
Whoa!
That's right, put on your 3D glasses because you won't believe what you're seeing. It's us on camera. We
Never
are,
happened before.
well, that's true, at least for us. This is going to be the standard going forward. I guess we're going to do videos. Because I don't know why. I think you mentioned it. We're doing videos on me and my mom's podcast. So we just decided, why not just do it on everything? That'll be fun.
I think video podcasts are the future. Everybody's doing them now.
They're the future.
I think so. I think most podcasts are video. I still don't know why, but here we are.
Yeah, who's watching a podcast?
Especially when you're driving.
Yeah. That's the only time I listen to Joe Rogan is when I'm driving.
Exactly.
It gets me motivated and ready to go.
It's like AM radio for the 2020s.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But speaking of radio, we're going to be reviewing two albums that we have previously covered. This is also kind of a preview of what the main channel stuff is going to be looking like in the future too, because we are going to be restructuring over there. But we thought that we'd do a little trial run with two albums that we did way back, maybe one of the first Boy Time videos, period. It was our ranking of all of the top 50 Rolling Stone album of all time list that they did. We listened to all of those, and then we gave our thoughts and ranked all of them in our ranking. And I think I have not rewatched those videos.
I have it pulled up right now.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, like, right before we started, I'm like, it would be nice to get like where we put these two albums on our lists.
Mm-hmm. I do have that info.
Okay. So. Okay. I'm glad you did more research than me. But the idea of this is there was two albums in that video that was like one I should have liked and one of them you should have liked. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to be re-listen. Well, we already re-listened to it. Now we're just going to be talking about them. I re-listened to Voodoo by D'Angelo, and you re-listened to Graceland by Paul Simon. Mm-hmm. And I don't know which one we want to start with.
Let's do Graceland.
Okay. Graceland, Paul Simon. I don't remember what I ranked it. I think it was in the top 20 though.
You have it at number 12.
Okay.
And I had it at 45.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really low.
It really was. And I'm like, wow. I think in general, these Rolling Stone from 5 years ago was like, this is something that I'm glad we did, but probably shouldn't have been publicized because who cares what 20-year-olds on the internet care about the top 50 albums with zero context surrounding any of them.
Right.
That being said, my list would change severely.
Yeah.
But that's the reason that we're doing these two. I don't know if there's any other albums on this list that like this applies to as well. We could maybe look, but I think these were the big standouts.
Yeah, I know, like, you recently revisited Velvet Underground within, like, the last couple of years. And
I had that at 49, and that would be in the top 10 now, So
Ramones was last, though, right?
For both of us, yes.
I think that stands. I don't see that really going up.
I don't see that moving.
But that's interesting. I didn't realize Velvet Underground was 49.
I think I had an issue with the guitar sliding sound because it made me like, ooh, like one of those kind of noises. I got over that.
Good.
So no more issues. But Graceland, I don't know if you have a lot of context for this, but it is a 1986 album.
I know a little bit.
Famously. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go into the context. You know it better than I do.
Well, this is, again, I should have done more research because this is all like secondhand stuff that I've heard just growing up. But my mom, it still is a huge Simon and Garfunkel fan. She isn't really into like Paul Simon's solo stuff, which I think is interesting. But I think way back when I was a kid, she showed me You Can Call Me Al, and then basically kind of gave me the story of this album. So this is like coming like years later. So just want to preface this in case I get anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe this is like one of his later solo albums. This is like, at this point, it's like 86, you said. Simon and Garfunkel has long since disbanded. I think it's been like over 10 years. This is like one of his like later albums. I think he only made like 3 or 4 after this. Oh, okay, never mind. He's like still making albums. Never mind. Paul Simon is like Neil Young or Cat Stevens. Cat Stevens just released 2 albums like within a week. So I don't know what's going on over there. But basically, Paul Simon took a trip to, I believe, somewhere in South Central Africa.
I think South Africa is the main one.
South Africa? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And he basically recruited a bunch of local musicians and basically like learned a lot about the music that is local to that area. And then with that knowledge and research done, and collaborating with other artists, of course, that is what spawned Graceland, which is kind of, it's a little bit, I mean, it sticks out in his like discography because, I mean, it doesn't sound anything like Simon and Garfunkel, and it doesn't sound like anything solo Paul Simon either, which is, I think, why I like it so much. But who cares about what I think? What did you think of Graceland on your second go around?
So my first go around, I like rewatched that section of the video. I sound like Babjab during that time, which is scary because 3 years separated, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was just like, wow, this is like how Babjab talks on our show. I think what I initially said is I didn't like the first half of the album, but I really liked the second half, but it wasn't something that I would ever return to. I think that was basically my synopsis of it.
Okay.
Coming back, I definitely like it a lot more than I used to. I think I would definitely put it a lot higher on the list. It would probably be somewhere in the 30s, probably high 30s. Yeah, I liked a lot of it. I like the variety of everything. I think it's very, very diverse in what it was trying to do. Yeah, I think second listen, I'm like, this is a lot better. I still have some gripes. I listened to it 2 or 3 times over these two weeks.
Okay.
I don't know if it grew on me at all during the 3 listens. I think it was pretty much baseline, and like I'm viewing this as a album and not something that I'm like gonna fall in love with and listen to repeatedly.
Right.
Which is just my relationship with it. I don't think that's changed, but I do like it a lot more. Like I would turn on some of these tracks like without doing this kind of video or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, we have it separated. I made some categories. We're gonna go over some best tracks, some worst tracks, any hot takes, and our best moment on the album. So I guess we can kind of like go back and forth for best tracks, or I guess we can list. I put 3.
Okay.
And then we can kind of talk about them. The Boy in the Bubble is a fantastic opener. I love that song. I think it's fantastic.
Yes.
Songwriting and everything is great as well. I know that he's like, he wrote this and released it like during apartheid South Africa, but like making an anti-apartheid album from within that area was really, really cool. And it feels like he gives a lot of the players like the time and space to like be the main star of the show for a lot of these songs. Which goes into my other 2, which is Under African Skies and Homeless. The 1-2 of those are just phenomenal. Yeah, those are just amazing tracks. Those are my top 3, I would say, from this thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my number 1 is Homeless. That is my favorite song on this album, mainly because of what you're saying. It's like, it's, to me, like the song is great. It sounds fantastic. It's a beautiful arrangement. I'm sure like some of it is improvised, at least it seems like it. And it's just like so beautiful how the Ladysmith Black Mambazo, that group, is able to like work off each other. It's and I think what I love about it is that it feels so unique in that like nothing made in America sounds like that, at least during this time, but still. And so I really love that like Paul Simon really sat back on that song. Like that is basically just a Ladysmith Black Mambazo song where he
Yep.
just kind of like comes in the last half and basically just like kind of
Just harmonizes.
yeah,
A little bit.
harmonizes. He's also kind of doing like the call to their response,
Yeah.
and it's just really really nice. And we'll get into some of that later when I have a topic that I want to bring up, but I'll save that for the end.
Okay.
But my number 2 would probably be Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes, mainly because that intro. If that intro comes on, I'm like, well, dang, I have to listen to the whole song. Even if like I hear like someone else mention that song, it like gets stuck in my head, and I just like love that song. I know that's not a hot take. That's not a fun, unique pick, but
fantastic.
I love that song very, very much. And then I think my number 3, I think I might have to go with I Know What I Know. That one, like, it's a sneak one. It's not one
It is, yeah.
that like I think about very often, but as I'm like looking at this track list, I'm like, I really love that. And like the lyrics in it are so weird, where it's like this like conversation with this like woman who's like, I honestly don't know what he's talking about. Where it's like, didn't we meet at like the cinematographer's party? Well, who am I to ruin your parade? Like, well, I don't know what that means, Paul Simon. But I feel like that can apply for most of the lyrics on this album.
Yeah.
They're very like flowery and poetic and kind of nonsensical. Like that's the entirety of You Can Call Me Out. But it's, I don't know. They're just really fun. So I think that's what I would have to go with, those 3.
Yeah, I think this album straddles the line between like I think the first time I listened to it back then I had like the ick because it seemed like the classic British guy being like Africa, the continent,
Yeah.
it's the freedom safari, and then like going back to it, I'm like, no, this is a genuine expression of like the culture and trying to like not insert yourself in it, but just kind of like celebrate it at a mutual standing with unknown artists to kind of give them publicity as well.
Absolutely.
That being said, my worst tracks. I think that was Your Mother's handedly the worst song on this album.
That's the polka song, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like that at all.
Yeah, no,
I think
I
it's
don't either.
a sore thumb on the last half of this album here. My next track, this ties into my hot take for this album. I don't like You Can Call Me Al.
Really?
Rather annoying.
Oh, I love that song.
I know that's like the song that everybody knows from it. I don't know. I don't like the da 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 da. It feels so like 80s pop and dancey.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a personal thing for me where I'm like, is the song okay? Yeah. Do I find it really annoying? Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe it's because of earworms and it's like not a tune that I like to have stuck in my head. I'm not sure. But I would love this album, I think, a lot more if like You Can Call Me Al was either right at the front or right at the back. Because I would love to have Diamonds into Under African Skies, into Homeless, into Crazy Love. I think that'd be an amazing 4-track run.
I'll give you that.
But it kind of gets inserted between Diamonds and Under African Skies, which I think is maybe why I find it annoying, because I think the placement of it's bad. But yeah, those are the only 2 worst tracks I have. I think everything else here is pretty good. I think I Know What I Know is like the good version of You Can Call Me Al to me, because it is kind of the nonsensical fun track, but I do enjoy that one a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot of bangers on this thing. It's pretty consistent.
Yeah, I think, well, I would have to agree with you. I didn't even know that like that's what that song was called. I listen to this album all the time, but it's like on a Bluetooth speaker
so
while I'm
forgettable.
delivering the mail. And every time it comes on, I'm like, oh, it's the weird polka song. Skip it. Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be the only song I don't like. But yeah, I didn't think about moving You Can Call Me Al to the front. I actually think that's a pretty dang good idea. Paul Simon, if you watch this podcast, because now you can watch these podcasts now that we're doing.
That's true. You can
exactly. Now I don't have to correct myself when I say watch this podcast. Yeah, but when you watch this podcast, Paul Simon, maybe for the 40th anniversary, which is going to be next year, maybe just scooch You Can Call Me Al up. Maybe
go track 4 on it, maybe.
I was going to suggest track 3. Just
Okay.
move I Know What I Know down. But honestly, track 4 would work too.
Either one. Yeah.
Either one, Paul. So, Mr. Simon, sir.
Mr. Simon.
But that's it for me.
Okay. Another category I had was best moments. So this could be like any part of a song or anything about the rollout or the album cover or anything, just like the best part of this album. And I think it is the harmonies on Homeless. I think Homeless in general is just like the sparkle shining moment of this thing.
Yeah.
Especially that back half where he is kind of like having a little bit of a verse, but it's like so much call and response and the harmonization and everything is just like perfection.
Yes.
So so good.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you. I mean, Homeless is like, that might be like my favorite Paul Simon song, period, including Simon and Garfunkel. Like, it is so G-dang good. And, you know, I'm a sucker for like a cappella harmony stuff. So like, this is like right up my alley. But I just love it. Just, you're right. It feels like this genuine expression. And this is like the moment on the album that like fully cemented this as being like, oh no, this is like intentional and authentic. And it isn't like he's just coming over here culture vulturing and just taking it. Like that feels very much like a spotlight on the like indigenous music that he's trying to like tap into. And so like I think it's emblematic of the whole attitude of the album, which to me is pretty G-dang important for something like this.
Yep. Absolutely. You can hear black music going all the way back to those African roots in that song as well, because like there is soul and there is blues in that song, but it's like at the very, very root of those genres, which is super cool to hear.
Absolutely.
Which we'll probably talk about more with D'Angelo, but it shows up here and it's fantastic. So yeah. I already gave my hot take. I don't know if you have a hot take or not.
My hot take. I'm just looking through. What is my hot take?
We don't have to have one for every album. I think it's a fun category because I feel like we often have something stupid to say, and I feel like we should have a platform to say it.
We do. I don't know if I have a hot take for this one. Just that, like, I think, like you, I really like The Boy in the Bubble. That one isn't, like, the most streamed. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm like, come on. Everyone needs to stream The Boy in the Bubble because I think it's too good.
Boy in the Bubble.
I think it's a really good song. And it's like weird and nonsensical too. Because I'm thinking of Graceland. Graceland is also a weird, nonsensical one where it's like a bunch of pilgrims going to Elvis's house. And I'm like, I don't really know what that's supposed to mean either. I'm sure there's something like I'm sure there's some deeper meaning to it, but it's like weird. He's like, he keeps bringing up like a childhood companion. And I'm like, that feels weird. But then like, he's 9 years old. He's the child of my first marriage. And then like, he comes up again later in the song. And I'm like, there's some sort of narrative. Something's going on.
Graceland isn't like a place on this album. It's more of like a state of mind he's in. So it might just be like nonsensical tying back to like his childish dream view of the world or something. Maybe. But like, it's very hard to decipher.
Well, I don't know. There's also like specific mentions of Tennessee where he's like, I'm following the river down the cradle of the Civil War. So it's like very intentional. Like it's supposed to be eliciting this like idea of Graceland, Elvis's house.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like African civil wars during the time as well. So it's like,
that's true.
There's weird parallels that he's making. It's a well-written song.
Yes.
It's just like a little over the place. I haven't like dove into the lyrics on this album.
Yeah, I feel like there is I'm sure there is like deliberate stuff going on, just considering it's Paul Simon, one of the best songwriters of all time. Like I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff in here, but I just love the music. I love the sound of this thing. So I like don't really pay attention. And especially since it seems like the lyrics are all over the place weird.
Right.
So that's my hot take, I guess.
Neat. Yeah, I guess that's all we have for that one. I have like a scoring / conclusion section. I don't know. I feel like I wrapped it up already. I think this thing's great. It's not something I'd come back to a lot at all, but it's a good album and I do enjoy it a lot more than I did. I have like an 85 or 86 for the score, which is
Oh,
pretty good. Um, that's usually where I fall with albums where I'm like, this is a good album, but I don't know if this would like go in my rotation of albums that I would like willingly put on. So I feel like that's a solid area for that.
yeah, that's solid. I don't know like what I would rate it, but this is an album I listen to all the time, and it's basically
Mhm.
been in rotation for me at least 6 months. Like I
But
really really like this album. Go back to it a ton. Yeah, I don't remember. There was like maybe a year or two ago where I re-listened to it and like rediscovered it as being like this
mhm.
amazing album. Maybe that was like around the time I was getting into Simon and Garfunkel too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's something, but I loved it. The topic I wanted to bring up, because I brought this up when we did the weekend.
Mhm.
I was specifically like citing this as like an example of like good, like cultural appropriation, if that's the word you want to use.
Mhm.
Where it isn't really that, but you know, he's incorporating a lot of sounds and stuff in
Yeah.
this album that is not his native
Is
whatever.
mhm.
And so I want to bring up and ask this question to you. What makes this album different than when Drake or The Weeknd did it on his most recent album?
First of all, there's no accents
Well,
because
that's a good point.
Drake's like whole thing is like I'm gonna find an unknown artist and then do one song with them and then either sign them and trap them in a deal or just like take the clout of that and then just jump somewhere else and see what else he can find. He's a great talent scout. He knows what's sounding good from unknown people. Um, the Weeknd, I don't have as much of a problem with. I think he has a big Brazilian fan base, so it makes sense that he did something like that. Is it my favorite? No. I'm sure the Brazilian fans love it. I think the difference with this one is like he's taking artists that are unknown and have no concept of the music industry, and give them a platform. It's like we watched the freaking documentary on Hollywood. It's a very similar thing, except Paul Simon takes the correct option and like staying back on it,
Yeah.
and not inserting himself too much by like trying to bring in record execs or anything else to kind of like mess with that.
Yeah.
He's very much visiting, and that's all he's doing is he's purely plays a visiting role on this album.
Mhm.
And I think what ultimately is he's a gigantic artist. This is apartheid South Africa. He's bringing attention to certain issues. Like "Homeless" is a song that like will encapture the feelings of a lot of people during that time under an apartheid regime.
Yeah.
So like having them just have that whole song to really like lay poetic in this kind of blues, amazing African root like style. That's all you can really ask for. Um, Again, it's a white man going to Africa and like pointing out issues like this, but like this is so much better than like someone playing at Live Aid and doing stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like this is a genuine artistic expression and interest. He's kind of the wandering like musician on this album where he's kind of just like traveling the world and picking up experiences. So
Yeah.
I don't find an issue in that. I think it's not all the music sounds the best to me. Like there's certain things on here that I'm not a fan of, but like it turns out pretty good.
Sure. I think that's a good reason, I think. I don't know. It was something I was mulling over. And
Mhm.
like, I think I did give my thoughts on it at the time, but I was interested because at the time you said, well, it's been so long since I've listened to Graceland. I don't really know like
Yeah.
what the comparison would be. So I
I think the
appreciate.
first time I listened, I had the opposite take where I'm like, this feels a little,
Oh,
uh, I don't know what the word is. It was a little grimy to me. I'm like, I don't know if I like this, but I didn't have any context surrounding the album or anything, so I think it was
sure.
different. I think from an outsider's perspective, this could be seen as just straight up cultural appropriation, but
You got to do some digging.
you got to do some digging, especially with albums like this.
Yes.
Not everything's in
Yes.
a vacuum.
No,
Sometimes context matters.
absolutely. I feel like if someone like Paul Simon released an album like this, I think you owe it to them to do some research, you know?
Yeah,
Uh, so that's it for Graceland.
that's Graceland. Now we're going to Voodoo
Voodoo.
by D'Angelo, released in 2000.
Yeah.
Let's see where we placed this. I had it at number 11 on my Rolling Stone list.
Okay.
You had it at number, looks like 35, 34. One of those
That's
two.
not too bad.
So not too horrible.
Okay.
I think I rewatched your little section on it, and I think
Uh-oh.
you just said you tried a couple of times and you just didn't get it.
Mm,
And I think that was the most of it. So
that
we
was
didn't hear
Sam.
too much about it.
Oh.
But yeah, this is D'Angelo's second album coming off of Brown Sugar. This is 5 years later after a major kind of writer's block spree in there.
Mm.
Very famous. Kendrick had one of those for 5 years. Just shows that kind of artistic block coming into your one of your best albums. Brown Sugar was a lot more conventional R&B, neo soul, but this kind of like took and morphed into something different. With Questlove and everybody coming in for this, ends up kind of being this like psychedelic neo soul blues folk, not folk, funk. That's the word I wanted to use.
Yeah.
Combining all these different genres into this kind of psychedelic experience. It is a very, very, very successful album. I think it was sold a ton of copies first week. A couple of singles on here that did amazing. And after this, he dropped off for a long time. I think he had issues with the way his sexuality was portrayed.
Mm.
He was very much kind of tokenized in that way. And then he kind of fell off for a long time after that. And then came back in 2014 with Black Messiah, which is one we might do on the main channel eventually here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a little bit of the context. What was your initial reaction to it, I guess?
Yeah, because I've listened to it quite a few times. I think for the last week, I've listened to it every day. And some of that is because, yeah, I remember that being a part of it, like of why I didn't like it. Because I'm like, by all accounts, I should love this. I love R&B and soul music. So I'm like, this should be a layup. I just don't understand what is like separating, like why can't I get into this 100%? And I think on like the first go around, I was like, okay, I get it a little bit more now. I am able to understand what makes this so good and why people talk about this album like this. I don't know if it's something that I'll go back to, kind of similar to you in Graceland. But I'm like, I don't know. But I think by like my third or fourth, I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. And I do really like it. But I do think it is one of those albums where I can't imagine listening to any of these songs by themselves. Like this is an album.
Yep.
Like it's basically, to me, it feels like one big movement. I know it isn't, but like to me, like kind of the vibe and everything is like so similar. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just like so cohesive that it feels like out of place to go and like just listen to like Spanish Joint or something.
Right.
Even though I love Spanish Joint, I need the whole context here. Like something would feel out of place. So yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at with Voodoo. It's very, very good, but yeah, I can't separate any of these tracks.
Yeah, I think I listened probably 3 or 4 times just to get myself like re-familiarized with it. Like it's always kind of in and out of rotation, but like I think I grew on this even more in the past couple of weeks. I think I'm like seeing the genius in it in different ways than I was initially. Just because like I think initially I'm like, this is something like I haven't really heard before. When we first did this, because like this was one of the first neo soul albums outside of like Anderson .Paak I was probably like like aware of at this point, since Voodoo kind of spawned neo soul as a genre, or at least helped it. But since then, like all these years, there's been a ton more that we've done.
Yeah.
And coming back to it, I'm like, this is like absolutely genius in the way that it sets everything up. But yeah, it's just hitting me a lot harder than it used to. Across all of the songs, like I think there was a couple of like ones on first listen back in the day where I'm like, I don't know if I'm too big on this, but now it's like almost flawless to me. But yeah, best tracks.
Well, Spanish Joint is my favorite.
It's amazing. Yeah, it really is.
I'm a big fan of like syncopation, and I mean like this whole album is full of that. But like to have the whole beat be built around something like that is just amazing. And like I mean, it stays pretty constant the whole time. I think there is like a switch up towards the end. But man, just like a solid ass track.
Hmm.
Number two, I like the Devil's Pie.
Okay. Funky.
It's funky. Um, and he's doing like this weird vocal inflection thing
Hmm.
that probably turned me off when we first reviewed it, but I'm like, man, I love that now. Like it's so groovy. And he like
It's very Kendrick before Kendrick. He's doing this kind
yeah.
of like weird inflections. Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get into all the inspirations and stuff because this
Yes.
seems like when I was listening to this, I'm like, okay, now that I've listened to a whole lot more music, I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
I understand like how
Yep.
influential this guy is now. Like I've heard it forever, but
Right.
now I'm like fully getting that. And then I think this is maybe a curveball, but my third is Great Day in the Morning / Booty. I love
Banger.
especially the last the booty part of it, if you
Hmm.
will. Like once that like breakdown happens, and then like man, it's so groovy and fun. I
Yeah.
love that. But I think those are my top tracks.
Okay. I had a hard time doing best tracks because I love all these songs. But yeah, I think the intro Playa Playa is phenomenal. It's like very Pink Floyd in the way that it's like incredibly spacey and like almost psychedelic in that way, but like it's kind of introduces every song on here can be like a slow burn outside of a couple. I think Spanish Joint's one of the most like up forward, like up front ones.
Mm,
But man, everything takes its time and just really sets in. So you're just like in the groove, in the pocket. I love that he doesn't like belt his voice. He has a fantastic voice, but he like knows how to restrain it and like play with the dynamics of it. And it's phenomenal.
yeah,
Um, Send It On is probably my most played track. It's just a classic song to me. It's amazing. The horns and everything on it are fantastic. There's so many different styles of music that go into every single song on here where it's like Sinners is kind of my blueprint for the year and how you display like history of musical lines. This
sure.
whole album does that as well. Like you get the 70s like or funk and soul and all these different things like really combining together to get to something like this, and it's incredible.
Mhm.
Um and then I got to do Untitled. It's the common pick. Like everybody knows that song, but it really is phenomenal. Um yeah, you don't get sensual tracks like this nowadays. It's
No,
not really something that pops up. I think especially during this area too, because like you get like Full Moon by Brandy a year before this, and you hear the production on that album and how insane R&B production was at the time. Then you get to something like this, and everything is so like
mm,
molasses and spacey and like it just takes its time and it doesn't care about it. And I think that's the best thing about this album is like it
yeah,
really just lets you sink into every single little detail. And that song is just incredible. So yeah, very good stuff.
yeah.
Any worse tracks?
Um, I think I think the only one that doesn't really do it for me is Chicken Grease. Um,
Okay.
and even like even right now, like I know that that's the one where like I'll look down at my phone and be like, "Oh, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
this isn't the song I like." But right now, I can't even like think of what it
Like what it
sounds
sounds
like.
like. Yeah.
I feel like most of these other ones I kind of have a grip on, but
Mhm.
Chicken Grease, like every time I'm like, it just like doesn't fully work. If I remember right, it's like it doesn't feel as full. And
It is
that's
a
like
little sparse. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, compared to everything else on this
Mhm.
album, like, I mean, we'll probably talk about the Untitled moment later,
Mhm.
but like, where there are like these really great and grand builds and
Yeah.
like so much intricate instrumentation going on, it just feels a little bit too sparse to be in the context of everything else.
Hmm. I could see that because I think Send It On and One More Again like are so much better than Chicken
Yes.
Grease. So like having it in the middle, it's kind of meanders a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thoughts exactly. But I think that's it. That's the only
Okay.
song I really don't like.
Yeah. I put a worse track down just to have one, but I don't think it's a bad song. But I have some issues with Left and Right.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I think the song is fantastic, but going into my hot take, I don't think you need Redman and Method Man on there.
You don't need it, but it is fun.
I don't think you need it. It's fun, but at the same time, it's like this album is so cohesive, and D'Angelo is such a star on it.
Yeah.
It's hard to take someone with such a smooth, soulful, kind of like gentle approach to vocals, and then you have Redman coming in like yo yo yo,
Yeah.
like those two bouncing off each other. I think this song actually works outside the context of the album, but most
Sure.
of the other ones don't. But that makes it my least favorite track for some reason. So I don't know. I think those two pull me out. It's like a sensual experience to like two teenagers coming in
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, it's a little much for me. But yeah, best moment.
It has to be the Build and Untitled.
I have the same one.
Yeah, that's like that's what it has to be.
Yep.
And like it's funny, like I think maybe the first time during this revisit, like when I heard that, I immediately thought of something that you had said about I think a Lizzie McAlpine song, where it was
Okay.
like when you do a build, you don't just turn the volume knob up, because that's like it's just like whatever.
It's not a crescendo.
No, yeah. You're just upping the amplitude. You aren't like adding any more elements or doing anything to make it feel more earned. Where
Right.
it's like this is like the pinnacle of that. Of like this might be like the best crescendo of all time. Where it's like it completely drops out and there's like nothing and then there's like just like a couple drum hits. And then it's just like this very slow and gradual build to what it eventually turns into, and it is like glorious. I don't know if it has been topped, which is crazy because that's 25 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such an incredible song in general, but like to reach that pinnacle of it at the end is just like puts the cherry on top. And like you don't realize how good it is until you listen to the album like once or twice and you're kind of like, okay, I'm grooving, I'm like staying in my lane. The bass and the drums are just doing fantastic work. And then Untitled comes on and it just like brings the energy level so far up.
Yeah.
And then the song just ends by cutting off.
It
And then you
does.
just have like this kind of like sparkly Africa come in as the outro, which is an interesting choice. There's a couple of albums where that happens and I usually enjoy it. Untitled could go on forever though if they
Yeah.
don't do that. I don't know how you end that song.
Fair. Yeah, I was actually
yeah.
going to ask you because I think every time that happened, I'm like, wait, is there something wrong with like the Spotify version?
Right.
Was this like because I guess maybe you weren't
I don't
doing
know.
vinyls back then. It would be
Yeah.
like more CDs. But was it cut down for digital? Like I don't know.
I don't know. Because this was like one of the big hits off of it, obviously.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the reasoning was behind that. Another album that we might cover much later on this show, like does this as well, where it cuts off a song at a pinnacle and then goes into a super sparse track next. I think on that particular album, it works really well. Here, I don't know how to feel about it because it really just like slices off. So I'm wondering if it was just like I don't know how to end this, so let's make a artsy decision and just cut it, or if it was like we need to save some space because we're at an hour and 20 minutes on this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have the record of this. I do want to get it so I can kind of figure out if that's the case when it comes to this.
Yeah, because I don't know. But it would feel like, even if they did make that cut for physical releases at the time, it feels like by now, with there being no limit to what it is on streaming, it should be
Right.
restored. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's been no anniversary or anything for this album, surprisingly.
That is surprising.
Which we're coming up on 25 years. Actually, it has been 25 years already, so don't know.
Probably not going to happen.
Probably not going to happen. I said my hot take. Do you have any hot takes?
I think really my only hot take is that like I guess it's just like I don't know how often I'll listen to this. It feels like because we were doing it for this like podcast, I almost said video, but that would have been true. This is new and improved. We're on camera now. We're like, but for this video, we were like, okay, I'm going to listen to it every day just so that I can like fully understand and try to get like a hold on like what tracks are what tracks, I guess. But like, I don't think this is something that I would listen to all the time. I don't
Okay.
know, I don't know if that's necessarily like a hot take because it feels like
don't
this
think
is a
so.
very specific mood.
Yes.
even like compared to other soul stuff, granted this is like more approachable stuff, but even like
Mhm.
I'll listen to songs in the key of life or what's going on like just
Mhm.
any day. Whereas it feels like, okay, I have to be in a specific mood for Voodoo.
Yeah.
Which I mean, maybe that's like the psychedelic aspects of it. It certainly is like not
It's
one
very
that,
hazy.
yeah, it's not one that you can show to like your mom who hasn't listened to anything in 30
Yeah.
years.
Exactly.
And so like, I don't know. I'm like, I do like it a lot. I respect
Mhm.
it. I respect D'Angelo. I would be down to do Brown Sugar or Black Messiah in the future.
Okay.
But that's just kind of where I'm at with Voodoo. I'll listen to it,
Mhm.
but it's not going to be in regular rotation as a.
Yeah, I think that's an hour and 20 album. It's like putting on To Pimp a Butterfly all the time. It's like it's a whole sonic experience that you kind of have to be ready for.
Yeah.
Even though this is a little bit more approachable, I think there's still like layers and layers and layers and a lot of the production and stuff on this. But this is
Yeah.
kind of a winter album for me, which is weird because it does kind of feel
Oh,
like a summery album. But I
yeah.
think I like the warmth in the wintertime and just how like slow this stuff is. Um, I do want to get it on record. I hope the pressings are decent because this is kind of
Yeah.
the era where vinyl was very underground. There wasn't a lot of stuff going on with that.
Yeah.
But I do want to look out for one. But yeah, I would be down to do either Brown Sugar or Black Messiah. I think they're both phenomenal. But yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Okay.
But I have the score of 97 on this. It went up from a 95. I think it's better than I originally thought it was. I think that just comes with more experience too. And just like the more you hear, the more this becomes even better than it was to me before.
Sure.
So
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I think it would be in the 20s now under Rolling
okay.
Stone, at least.
So probably bump into the top 10 for me somewhere. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm looking at this list and I'm like, not a lot would stay in the place that it's in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would be another. Would that even be an interesting feature is to re-rank that list?
I don't know. It'd be a bit of an undertaking because we would have to re-listen to all 50 again,
That's
potentially
true.
multiple times.
That's true.
But
And I don't want to
I
do
think
that.
whenever the Rolling Stone updates their list again, I think we should
We should.
give it another shot because I think like 30 of these albums at least will probably remain in there, but we'll probably have some new ones to look at.
That's
So
true.
I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how often they do that. Last time was in
Mhm.
2020.
Yep.
So I would imagine in 2030,
Every 5 or 10 years. Yeah.
maybe. I
I feel
guess
like 10 years is
we.
a good
I don't know why
barrier.
we're doing Rolling Stone when like Apple Music just did one, and
We could do those too. Yeah.
because I think
Maybe eventually.
Apple Music was kind of a controversial one, at least in my eyes, because I saw they had Good
Yeah.
Kid and not T-Pab, and I'm like, what the hell are you
Yeah.
doing?
They seem to shoehorn in a lot of newer artists too, where the albums
Yeah.
necessarily haven't had enough time to like breathe.
Oh, did they do that? Did they add
They had
Dua
Billie
Lipa?
Eilish on there once or twice, where I'm like,
Oh,
Billie's music is good, but top 50, I don't think so.
yeah, not yet. Anyway,
No. Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
I don't know. We'll keep
Maybe
an eye out
someday.
for any interesting lists. I think it could be interesting. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think this format's gonna do us a lot better. Just because like we have more time to listen. So if we don't get it the first or second time, like we have time to really explore it and not just like have to listen to a song live and then try to gather thoughts on it live because that can be difficult depending on what you're listening to.
yeah.
So this feels so much better to me.
I think
But
so. And
yeah, we'll
it'll,
do a little segment on what we're updating. But
yeah. And I do another thing that I really like about this that I think will be better than doing reactions is that like a lot of times when I'm listening to music, I'm doing research about it. Or like
mhm,
maybe I'll hear a lyric or something and be like, oh, well, what does that mean? Or like, what
right.
is the context for this? Or I'm doing like just research on the artist or album in general, where it's like I do that on the main channel. I'm sure if you watch my face, the lights will change as I'm
Mhm.
looking at
I
different
do the same
windows.
thing. I'm like, oh my god, it's just like it's such an accelerated rate.
But I'm like, I don't have to do that live
Mhm,
on camera anymore, and I don't have to scramble to try to, make sense of what I just heard while I
mhm,
was also doing research.
exactly.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. So I think the dry run was successful here on the Boy Time podcast.
Yeah.
If you do like this, be sure to head over to the main channel because we're going to be doing more of it.
Yeah, I guess we can just put the channel announcement on the end here, and we'll just repost it to the main channel. But yeah, this is our new format. So no more reactions. Reactions are done.
They're gone.
I don't really enjoy them that much anymore, and it takes a lot of editing work and a lot of brain power. You gotta find things to say about a song on the first time you're hearing it. And doing that for 4 years, I think, is enough. So
Yeah.
we're structuring it where we're just going to be discussing an album. We're going to have categories with like our first listening experience, our best and worst tracks, our best moments, any of our hot takes, and just context around that. So we're going to be kind of going back and forth. We each pick an album every week or every other week. We'll have bi-weekly uploads. Helps on our editing time as well, so we won't be burnt out as much since our schedules are very different than they were 4 years ago when we started doing this.
Yes.
Which is crazy. Yeah, we'll be going back and forth and just kind of picking albums that we want to talk about and let the other person really kind of dive in and experience. This will let us do a lot more albums than just reaction ones, because there are a couple albums I want to show that aren't fit for a reaction format.
Sure.
And I can finally get off of Spotify, which is great. I don't have to use it anymore for our listening parties that we would have to do to record. So that helps us there. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure out if we like the wheel or not still, or if we're just kind of gonna go off of vibes and stuff that we want to share with each other. Because this is our chance to kind of throw our passion albums into the wheel, into the pit, and kind of just like have a space to talk about them in a more discussion area, not like a reaction type space.
Sure.
So should be very good. But yeah, that's the plan. So every 2 weeks you'll get one of these on the main channel. This is on a podcast episode where we're doing a Voodoo and Graceland Redux. So if you're listening to the podcast, you obviously know that. But if you're on the main channel, go over to the podcast channel. You can see our first run on this.
Yeah. And I think it went swimmingly.
Me too. Did we want to choose what we're going to do for our first episode? Because I do have a pick lined up.
Sure, you go.
Okay. So we did Genesis earlier this year with Invisible Touch.
We did.
I think that was that 86. I think that was
so.
84 or 86. And then we just did Graceland 86.
Okay.
I want to go to one of my favorite albums from the 80s. So we're going to do The Color of Spring by Talk Talk, which was 85.
Oh.
This is kind of my response to the synth pop / new wave stuff that we were doing with Genesis and that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
I'm interested to hear what you think about this thing, because this has grown on me a lot this year.
Okay. Do I have any context for what this is, or should I just go in blind?
So if you want to, you can listen to It's My Life, the song, because you'll probably know it because it's one of the biggest songs of the 80s.
Okay.
This is the midpoint of their career between their synth pop new wave and their invention of a completely new genre. This is smack dab in the middle. So it's a cool blend of everything.
Okay. That sounds great to me.
Great. We have to figure out how we do transitions in this. But that's it. That's all the spiel I wanted. This is still the podcast episode.
This is a podcast. That's all. That's a little bit of a main channel update right there. But I think that'll just about do it. Next time we will be doing back to normal features, but still on camera. So
Yes.
we weren't kidding. This isn't a lie. This isn't a goof. This isn't just a plug for the main channel. We aren't just doing the main channel format just for this podcast.
Exactly.
You're a
I
lying
was just
fool.
brainstorming the main channel, and then we happened to do this at the same time that was ready for me to announce.
Yeah, it was actually kind of fortuitous in that way.
Yes.
But I
You
actually,
want to tease what we're doing next?
I think I remember what we're
I don't know if
doing
we can
next.
tease it.
I think, are we? Is it you say?
Yeah. It's a Ghibli movie. I won't say what one though.
Oh, I thought we were doing something else, so I'm glad you said it.
Oh, okay. That'll be interesting. We'll give two different hints that don't line up with each other.
Yeah, next time will be a Ghibli movie. It might actually be perfect timing. It might be in theaters. So
Okay.
be on a spy lookout. Gotta
See.
make sure.
See.
I did see. This is gonna date this podcast, but I was looking through showtimes and they're doing the Ghibli Fest thing, and I saw. Oh, jeez, my dog is snorting in the microphone. Hey, buzz off! I'm trying to do something.
We're almost done.
We're almost done. Get off of me. Okay. But I did see that Grave of the Fireflies is playing in theaters, and I'm like, why would anybody want to do that? Why are they screening that as a part of Ghibli Fest?
Yeah.
I don't understand. That's
Like literally Hydrogen Bomb versus Coughing Baby, with the rest of them being like more children oriented.
It really is. It's like, let's talk about the ramifications of war.
Firebomb campaigns. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's so out of place. I mean, I'm glad that it's getting a screening. I was just shocked. And I'm like, do I go see it? No, I don't think I'm ever going to watch that movie again. But I was just like, funny. So we're not doing Grave of the Fireflies.
Not doing that.
I'll spoil that. I think that just about does it for this podcast episode. Bye.